Welcome to Disambiguation. I'm your host, Michael Fauscette. Each week, we interview experts in artificial intelligence, generative AI, and business automation to help business leaders understand how to use these tools for the biggest business impact. Welcome to the show. This week, I'm going to go back to something that I did last year using some AI tools and take a look and do something a little different. So, for a while, I've used Google Notebook LM every time I publish a new research report. We generate a dialogue, an interview, a discussion, basically, of the of the research report, and then we publish that on the site along with the report. It gives a different view into the report, and I think it's an interesting tool, and actually a very good tool. And last month we published a report called Dynamic Pathways, Autonomous AI and Evolution of Customer Journey Mapping. The report talks about the evolution of customer journey maps with the new AI capabilities, particularly agentic AI. And if you've heard me talk about journey maps at all for many, many years, frankly, um, you'll know that I've never been a big fan of static maps. I think they just don't represent a realistic way to understand and improve the way that customers and prospects engage with your brand. And a static map, frankly, is just misleading at best, right? More likely, it's not providing any real value. So evolving now to with the tools and the capabilities that we have with agentic AI, we're moving to a point where journey maps could actually be based on analysis of real-time data and taking that data and then, including behavioral data and customizing every interaction to the individual level. So creating a specific customer or prospect journey. Anyway, so let's get to the episode. The following discussion was created, like I said, using Google's Notebook LM, and then the video was created using Synthesia. I created the audio and then had Soul AI transcribe the discussion. Then I took that transcription and I edited it down to make the conversation flow better. Sometimes Notebook LM puts a lot of short-term dialogue between the two avatars, and anyway, that makes it harder to follow. So this should be a fairly simple conversation to follow, and it's a good analysis of the report. So once I took that transcript, we created this video. So let's take a look at the discussion.
Have you ever noticed like some companies kind of just get you, not in a creepy way, but they just seem to know like exactly what you need even before you do? Well, today we are going deep diving into how all that's happening and how it's becoming less about just luck and more about serious science.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got this really interesting report here called Dynamic Pathways, Autonomous AI, and the Evolution of Customer Journey Mapping. From just this past month, March 2025, oh wow! And it basically just lays out this big shift that's happening and how businesses are, connecting with us as customers.
So we're talking about like how businesses understand us.
Yeah. How they understand us, how they interact with us. Interesting. Yeah.
So are we saying goodbye to like those old school customer journey maps? The ones like the perfect little paths that customers are supposed to take, but never really do. Debates play a crucial role in enhancing the learning experience.
Exactly. Those like ideal scenarios, right? Where it's just a straight line from, I see your product to I buy your product.
So our deep dive today is really all about this new thing, autonomous AI, which is basically turning those boring, static blueprints into dynamic, real-time experiences.
Yeah, they become much more responsive. They're always changing.
So this isn't just typical automation, right? This is something way bigger.
It's really a complete rethink of how businesses and customers actually relate to each other. So those traditional maps, the ones that tried to trace a nice, neat path from awareness to purchase, they were a decent starting point. But this report really points out how they don't quite match up with the messy reality of how we shop today. Customers, they jump between stages, they switch channels all the time. It's much more fluid.
Yeah, you might be researching something on your phone, like on the train, and then you get home. You're on your tablet, on the couch, and then maybe you even decide to go to the store. It's not A to B, it's all over the place. It's very rarely A to B. And those old maps, they were just based on averages from the past. They could never keep up with that level of individual, complexity.
Yeah, all those unique paths people actually take.
So that's where I guess autonomous AI comes in, right? This is like automation, but on steroids. So we're talking about systems that basically think for themselves.
They're making their own decisions.
They adapt instantly and they never stop learning from every single interaction. And this is all happening through machine learning, NLP, computer vision, and predictive analytics, right?
Yes, all of those are at play here.
So it's kind of like they're understanding and responding like a human would. But it's happening at this massive scale.
That's the key difference.
Okay, so let me just try to make sure I understand this. Sure. Normal automation is kind of like you said, a recipe, right? Like if X happens, then do Y. Very rule-based. But autonomous AI, this is totally different. It's like it sees these patterns. It gets the context of what's going on. It anticipates what you might need next. And then it just makes decisions in real time.
Right on the fly without needing those specific instructions. And that's really what sets it apart.
Okay? So the key here is the flexibility and the ability to actually make those decisions. And the report actually has some really good examples of this in action. ETs talk about that e-commerce one. If you search for winter boots on a regular website, you just get that, that list.
Uh-huh.
But with an AI, powered system things get way more interesting, way more dynamic. IT considers things like what the weather is like, where you are at that moment.
It looks at your past browsing history. It even knows what's in stock at stores near you. And it can even tap into what's trending on social media for winter fashion.
Yeah, it's pulling in data from all these different places. And then let's say you start looking at waterproof boots. Suddenly, those features become front and center in the search result.
It's like the website is having a conversation with you and adapting to what you're interested in.
So basically, AI is turning what used to be just a static list of products into this dynamic conversation that's actually trying to anticipate what you need before you even ask for it.
Exactly. It's not waiting for you to type in waterproof. It's figuring that out based on what you're clicking on, what you've looked at before, and even stuff like the weather outside.
That lost card scenario in the financial services example is really interesting too. Instead of just the usual routine of reporting the lost card and waiting for a replacement, the AI can actually pick up on subtle signs of frustration.
Yeah, like if you're typing really fast or using stressed out language.
And then it proactively offers things like expedited shipping, a temporary credit limit increase on another card. A team might even give you some tailored security tips based on how you usually spend. So it's not just about solving the immediate problem. No. It's really going a step further and trying to anticipate what the customer might need or be feeling beyond that initial issue.
Absolutely. It's taking the whole context into account.
And then you have multimodal AI. This is where things get even more futuristic.
Yeah. This is AI with all of its senses basically turned on at the same time. Wow. It's seeing you. It's hearing you. It's understanding you in this much more complete way.
Okay? So it's not just about text or voice anymore. It's pulling in all kinds of data.
Yeah. It's looking at text. It's listening to your voice. It's analyzing images. It's tracking how you click around a website or an app.
So it's like piecing together this much richer picture of what's happening with the customer.
Exactly. And by processing all of these different inputs together, the AI gets this really nuanced understanding of what you intend, what you like, even how you're feeling, by picking up on those subtle cues that older systems just completely missed.
So that's a huge difference from just looking at demographics and past purchases, right? Because that stuff can be so outdated. And it doesn't always reflect what you need or want at this moment.
Exactly. Traditional personalization kind of puts you in this box based on what you used to do. but multimodal AI with its predictive and prescriptive abilities.
Okay, so wait. Predictive AI tells you what might happen, and prescriptive AI is what's telling you what should happen.
Yeah, it's more about suggesting the next best steps. Got it. So with those capabilities, it aims to anticipate what you'll need in the future, not just react to what you did in the past. It's about being proactive and intuitive.
So give me an example of how this multimodal understanding would actually work in a real company.
Okay, well, the report uses this example of a telecom company. So they might notice that you typically use their mobile app for like quick data checks in the morning. But then, when you're on your laptop at night, you spend more time researching new plans. So instead of giving you the same experience everywhere, the AI actually tailors the mobile app to be really good for those quick checks, like highlighting your data usage, making that information front and center. And then the desktop site becomes this like resource for doing more in-depth research.
Oh, so like with detailed comparison tools for those upgrades you were looking at.
Exactly. So it's really about meeting you where you are, and in the way that's most convenient for what you're doing at that moment.
That's pretty smart. It's like they're respecting your context.
Exactly. And it makes the whole experience much smoother.
And in healthcare, imagine someone who is researching about managing a chronic condition. The AI could analyze so much about them, like their past interactions with educational materials, their appointment history, how often they take their meds. It could even analyze the language they use in their searches to figure out how much they understand and how they're feeling about it.
So if the AI sees that someone is newly diagnosed and they're probably feeling a bit overwhelmed, right? It could start by giving them really simple, reassuring information. But if it's someone who's had the condition for years and they seem frustrated, then it could offer more technical details about maybe like cutting edge treatments or even connect them with specialists.
Exactly. It's all about tailoring the information, not just to the condition itself, but to that individual's needs and emotional state at that specific time. And all of this leads to something really interesting: anticipatory customer service. So tell me, what is anticipatory customer service?
Well, traditional customer service is usually reactive. You run into a problem, you reach out to the company, and then they try to fix it. Anticipatory service is totally different. How so? It's about identifying potential issues and solving them before you even realize there's a problem. Wow. So you, as the customer, you never even experience the frustration.
So it's not even about fixing things faster. It's about preventing those issues from happening in the first place.
Exactly. And the report really emphasizes how important this is becoming. It's not just a nice bonus anymore. It's a core part of a company's value proposition.
Because it shows they respect your time and they're focused on making your experience as smooth as possible. But how does the AI actually know these problems are coming?
Well, predictive analytics plays a huge role. So by crunching tons of data from the past and using machine learning, these systems can see patterns and connections that might suggest a problem is about to happen. Like imagine a software company. They might analyze how people use their platform and notice that there's a specific series of actions that often leads to a crash or people getting frustrated. So they can see those red flags early on. And then they can intervene before the problem actually occurs.
So they can intervene before the problem actually occurs?
Yep. And then you have pattern recognition, which is basically AI recognizing familiar sequences or habits and anomaly detection. These systems learn what's normal for individual customers or for groups, and then they constantly watch for anything that deviates from that. Even tiny changes that a normal system wouldn't pick up on can be flagged by AI as potential signs of trouble.
So you're saying the AI is like way more sensitive to these little changes than a traditional system would be. Give me some real-world examples of this anticipatory service in action.
Sure. So think about smart home devices. The AI could be monitoring your thermostat's performance constantly. And if it detects these tiny temperature shifts, that might suggest a sensor is failing, which is something you might not even notice yet. It could reach out to you proactively, arrange a replacement, and even suggest some temporary settings to keep you comfortable until the new one arrives.
So it's going way beyond just fixing something when it breaks.
Exactly. It's preventing the problem altogether.
Or what about a company that sells subscription software? They could have AI. Analyze how new users are engaging with the platform, like in those first few weeks. And if it sees patterns of behavior that often lead to cancellations, maybe they're not using certain features or they seem stuck somewhere, the system could proactively offer them like tailored tutorials, invite them to specific webinars, or even have a customer success manager reach out with personalized help.
Exactly. It's like having this built-in support system that anticipates your needs before you even know you have them.
Okay, so now let's get into something else that's pretty fascinating. Emotional intelligence in AI. This is where AI starts to understand not just what you're doing or saying, but how you're feeling.
Exactly. It's about recognizing emotions and responding to them in a way that makes sense.
But how does a computer even begin to do that?
Well, there are a few ways. One is sentiment analysis. It analyzes text to figure out the emotional content by looking at the words used and how they're structured. And then more advanced systems use voice analysis to pick up on emotional cues in how you speak.
Like your tone of voice.
Yeah, your tone, your speed, the pauses you take, even like the intensity of your voice.
So it's not just about the literal words anymore. It's going deeper and trying to understand the emotions behind them.
Exactly. And this report puts it really well. Traditional AI focused on what customers do, but emotionally intelligent systems understand how customers feel. It transforms those interactions from just transactions into something much more meaningful.
So how does the AI actually react to those emotions?
Well, it can adjust its approach in real time. So if it senses that you're frustrated, it might use more empathetic tone, offer quicker solutions, try to minimize any unnecessary steps. But if you sound excited, it might mirror that positive energy. ND maybe suggest other ways you can engage with the brand.
So this could really change how we interact with businesses in a fundamental way.
Yeah, I think it has the potential to. When customers feel like they're understood on an emotional level, they tend to be much more satisfied. ND, they're more likely to stay loyal to that company. Plus, emotionally intelligent systems can be really good at spotting those early warning signs that someone's getting unhappy, so the company can intervene before they decide to leave.
So give me some real-world scenarios where this emotional responsiveness would come into play.
Okay, imagine you're calling a travel company because your flight's been cancelled, and the AI might be able to sense how anxious you are just from your voice or even from your text messages. So instead of just robotically going through the rebooking steps, it might prioritize reassuring you, explain your options really clearly, and make sure to give you frequent updates. So it's not just about fixing the logistical problem, it's about acknowledging how stressful the situation is.
Right? And addressing that emotional side of things. Or what about in retail banking? Let's say you're using a virtual assistant to set up a savings plan. The AI could analyze your emotional cues as you're talking about your financial goals. So if you seem anxious about the future, it might focus on the security and stability aspects of the plan. But if you're excited about a specific goal, like a vacation or something, okay.
You might emphasize those milestones and use visualizations to keep you motivated. It's tailoring the interaction not just to your financial needs, but also to your emotional relationship with your money. It's like the AI is becoming a financial therapist almost.
In a way, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about another challenge for businesses. Sure. And that is providing a consistent experience across all the different ways a customer might interact with them. Right? This is the whole omnichannel thing.
Omnichannel marketing has been this buzzword for ages. But the truth is, most companies still struggle to actually deliver that seamless experience.
Yeah, it's really hard to get right. You've got different departments, different systems, different data silos. And it can feel so disjointed when you move between their website, their app, their social media, talking to someone on the phone. It's like the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing.
You have to repeat information. The experience changes depending on how you're interacting with them. And sometimes you even get conflicting information. It can be very frustrating. And a lot of this comes from the fact that all their operations are siloed with separate data and technology.
Right? It's hard to get everything talking to each other.
So how can autonomous AI help with this?
Well, the report calls it an orchestration layer. It basically acts as a central coordinator.
So like a conductor, making sure all the instruments in the orchestra are playing together so the AI can access data from all these different places, and it can use that information to create a more unified customer experience, without the company having to completely rebuild all their systems. It's about making the most of what they already have.
Okay, so the AI is like constantly aware of where you are in your journey, no matter how you're interacting with the company.
Right. So you can start doing something on one channel and then seamlessly pick it up on another.
So you can start doing something on one channel and then seamlessly pick it up on another.
Exactly. Without having to start over or repeat yourself. Like, let's say you're researching a product on a company's app, and then later you go to their website. The AI remembers what you were looking at. It remembers your preferences. And then if you call customer service, the agent will already have your entire interaction history.
Exactly. It's all right there in front of them.
That would be amazing for convenience and just like reducing frustration. You would make things so much smoother. Give me a few more examples of these smooth transitions between channels.
Okay, so back to the telecom company example. Let's say you're looking into upgrading your phone plan and you start by doing some research on social media. Then you go to their website to compare different plans. The AI is tracking all of that. So when you finally call their contact center, the agent already knows what you're interested in and they can make much more personalized and efficient recommendations.
That would save so much time and effort for the customer. It eliminates all that back and forth. What about in retail?
Okay, so let's say you're browsing clothes online and you like a few things on social media. The AI can use that information to personalize the recommendations you see in their app. And then, if you go to a physical store, right?
The sales associates could actually get a notification about your browsing history, so they can suggest things you might like, without you having to explain what you're looking for. It creates this feeling of like a continuous relationship with the brand, no matter how you choose to interact with them.
So the benefits here are huge. It's not just about convenience, right? It can lead to more people completing complex tasks and it builds trust because you know you're getting the same information and the same quality of experience no matter how you're contacting them. So now let's talk about the final piece of the puzzle, AI-human collaboration, which I think makes a lot of sense. We're not saying robots are going to take over everything. It's about finding ways for AI and humans to work together effectively.
Exactly. It's about collaboration. So these collaborative models combine the strengths of both. AI can handle the data processing. It can spot patterns. It can ensure consistency. But then you have human agents who bring creativity, emotional intelligence, critical thinking, and the ability to handle those really complex or ambiguous situations. So in a way, the AI is like a super smart assistant for the human agent.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
The AI can listen to conversations in real time, analyze all the data, and then give the human agent these useful insights and recommendations. But the human is still in control. They're the ones making the final decisions and using their judgment and interpersonal skills to guide the interaction.
Exactly. So it's really about getting the best of both worlds.
What are the biggest advantages of this collaborative approach?
Well, for one, it can make responses much faster and more effective because the human has all the information they need right away. It also allows for more nuanced handling of situations, where human empathy is really important, like sensitive conversations.
And maybe most importantly, these systems create a continuous learning environment where both the AI and the human agents can improve over time.
Yeah, they learn from each other.
Do you have any examples of companies that are using this collaborative approach successfully?
Yeah. So Morgan Stanley uses a system called Next Best Action. The AI analyzes market data and client portfolios to suggest personalized outreach opportunities and discussion points for their financial advisors. So the advisors then decide how to use that information, and they maintain that direct relationship with their client. So the AI gives them the data-driven insights.
So the AI gives them the data-driven insights, and then the human brings the personal touch and the relationship management. That's a good balance. It seems to be working well for them. What about other industries?
Well, in healthcare, the Cleveland Clinic has this system for telehealth consultations where the AI listens to the conversation and gives the doctor relevant information and treatment guidelines in real time. The AI is doing the research for them as the conversation is happening, which helps to ensure the consultations are thorough while still letting the doctor focus on the patient's individual needs.
And then there's Zendesk with their agent workspace, which gives real-time guidance to customer support agents. So it suggests relevant help articles and even recommends what language to use based on how the customer is feeling. This collaborative approach is really the best of both worlds. You get the efficiency of AI, combined with that human touch that's so important.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive today, it's clear that autonomous AI is changing the game for businesses. Yeah, it's transforming everything.
We've talked about the shift from static maps to these dynamic experiences, from broad segmentation to hyper-personalization, which means understanding customers in all these different ways. We've seen how companies are moving from reacting to problems to actually anticipating our needs before they even arise. We've talked about emotional intelligence in AI, the move towards seamless omnichannel experiences, and now these powerful partnerships between AI and humans. So as we look ahead, what are some of the big trends you see shaping this evolution?
Well, I think we'll see even more sophisticated natural language processing and emotional AI, which will make those interactions feel even more human-like, more natural, more like talking to a real person. And those collaborative models, they're going to become even more refined and more widely used. Got it. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
So for anyone listening who's in the business world, what are some key things they should be thinking about?
Well, the report really stresses that this isn't just a tech upgrade. It has to be a strategic shift, a fundamental change in how they approach things. And finding that balance between automation and human oversight is crucial, especially when it comes to those important customer interactions. You don't want to lose that human touch.
And prioritizing integration is huge, making sure your AI systems can talk to your existing systems, so you get that complete view of the customer. And ultimately, it's all about continuous learning, both for the AI and for the people working with it, because customer expectations are changing so quickly.
And AI is evolving so rapidly.
It really feels like we're moving toward a future where the relationship between businesses and customers is less transactional.
And that's the show for this week. Thank you all for joining us. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the show. If you enjoy the show, please leave us a review to help others find us. For more research on AI and other software, check out arionresearch.com. If you're an expert in AI, generative AI, or business automation, either as a provider or an end user, email your information to disambiguation@arionresearch.com. Don't forget to join us next week. Disambiguation is an Arion Research production. I'm Michael Fauscette, and this is the Disambiguation Podcast.